How are you? Today I'm going to get a bit onto your nerves, but bear with me. I will say like Plato, when he used to say that a thinker has sometimes to get into one's mind, irritate like a gadfly. So what I'm going to do is a reality. I know it's going to be an irritation to some of our followers, but I want you to gauge, check everything, and find out if within the perimeters that are allowed, the religions allow, or if I've gone out of the perimeters. Please feel free to critique. I'm going to talk about 3 Judaism sects. 3 Judaism sects. Major. I know now many of you are wondering, are we going to dissect Judaism? I'll give you a different answer. No, we're not dissecting Judaism. We are looking at Judaism and its development into other Judaism-related religions, but who don't agree that they conform to Judaism. Let's start, for instance, when Abraham was told to move from Ur. They used to worship idols, they had shrines. So when Abraham came, he used to worship God of Abraham. And God prescribed to him how he will make shrines, how he will offer to him. It went on that way. Isaac took over. So it was God of Abraham, God of Isaac, had altars and shrine. And then Jacob, who is Israel, took over. So it was God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob. They had shrines, different shrines. Like we say, there were others, they call them mitzvahs or whatever, stones, Bethels, stones and whatever. So people would sometimes worship, not that they were worshiping the stone, but the spirit within the stone. So as things advanced, there was this movement to Egypt. And God decided to set the Israelites free from the Egyptians. So a prophet of the Lord called Moses had this vision, saw a burning bush, and God talked to him and revealed his name to him, Yahweh, for I am. That became the worshipping of Yahwehism. Most of the Old Testament, where we hear of Aaron and his family and the altars and Shiloh and these other places, it was going in line with that. That was Yahwehism. As time went by, the religion mutated. That is when the Israelites had gone in exile and had come back, and they realized that having a direct fellowship with God was more satisfying. It did not involve those cumbersome things. You could worship Yahweh direct. So that was the onset of Judaism, a worship without altars. That came to an end of the altars as such, because they could directly get in touch with Yahweh. A letter from the prophecy of Isaiah, a Messiah was to be born. And this Messiah, it was prophesied, will be called God with us. Hannah and Shimon prayed and a child was born, who was called Yeshua, of Jesus. And from him, when he grew and he preached the gospel, he was a rabbi, by the way, because Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus belonged to the Judaism religion. He was a rabbi in the Judaism religion. But he had different teachings that were elevated. So when he died and resurrected, the followers, who most of them were Jews and a few Gentiles, started a sect of Judaism that emulated how Jesus taught and how Jesus lived. This sect came to be called Christianity, living like Christ. With Yeshua and Christianity spreading, there came a time when the place had believers in Christ and believers in Yahweh direct. Then another prophecy of a prophet who was to be born in the wilderness of Arabia, and he will be moving by camel and living in tents, came. Prophet Muhammad was born. And Prophet Muhammad, the Quran, took Torah or Taurat and the gospel, the one we call Christian gospel, Injil. So it had the two of the best of the two Judaism sects. The best of the Judaism original sect, the best of the Christian Judaism sect. And he completed the book, what came to be known as the Quran, the holy book of the Muslims. I would like to give a comparison between the Quran and the Bible. After the prophets had preached about Jesus, later after the death of Jesus, an apostle called Paul came and he wrote most of the Bible books that were there. He had visions of heavenly visitation, just like Muhammad had. Muhammad came, he took the best of Judaism, the best of, the gospel, and he concluded by using what God had revealed to him to complete the Quran. So there are similarities. All these are three sects of the same religion, but visitations at different times. What beats me is this understanding. Are we in the Tower of Babel? Because we started with Torah, and then the Injil, and then the other books of the Quran. The Torah, and then the Injil. And here we are fighting, trying to kill one another, trying to eliminate each other. In fact, we all belong to Abraham. This is an advancement of Judaism religion. It is Judaism visitation at different times. That's my take. I said you can critique. What I'm saying is I'm not, let me say, an authority in all these books, but because I can be able to research. We always say when you get a degree, you're given the powers to read and do all that pertains to that degree. So you can be able to research within those things. So from my little research, that's what I've come up with. But if you are of a contrary opinion, feel free to critique. That's my take. And these three religions don't use altars. From the Bible, from the Quran, and from the Torah. Judaism, modern Judaism, no altar. The gospel of Jesus, this altar call thing, we brought in our own tradition, but Jesus had no altar call, direct connection, and Islam, direct connection. So altars are traditions, but in reality, when you go to the books, no altar. That's my take. Do your research, critique, answer. I beg to stop there.